here to support our friend at Sub Pop?
My name's Megan Jasper, and I work at Sub Pop as the company's CEO.
My name is Kara Mattini, and I'm one of the project managers for this event.
Gabe Carter, operations manager for Sub Pop Records.
I'm Jonathan Ponder, and I'm the co-founder of Sub Pop Records.
I'd like to start out and just thank you guys so much for making the time for us to come here and speak about this event. Sub Pop is an independent record label that has always been based in Seattle, working out of downtown Seattle, and we've had the good fortune of working with many local bands and international bands. We became best known probably almost 30 years ago for working with bands like Soundgarden, Nirvana, Mudhoney. We still work with Mudhoney, and we've worked with a lot of other bands since. Some of them very small, but we believe that they're all of equal value to us, and we feel very proud of the roster that we've had over the past 30 years. I want to talk. We're going to share some information about the event, and we're going to bounce around a little bit because we all have had specific focus for the Alki event. And when we finish, I also want to welcome Jeff McCord from Southwest Seattle Historical Society, with whom we're working really closely as well. So, Kara, do you want to start out?
Sure. I will start just by giving the basic outline of the day of our music festival. This festival will take place on Saturday, August 11th, from noon to 10 p.m. It's a free event, open to the public, open to everyone. There will be a charitable component. We'll be fundraising for the Southwest Seattle Historical Society, and we'll also be fundraising for a nonprofit that serves the homeless community. We haven't named that charity yet, but we're working on it. So we will have live music on 4 stages, and we will have beer gardens, we will have merch booths, nonprofit tables, and we'll have a kid-friendly and a family-friendly area as well. The road will be closed from 57th Street to 63rd Street, so roughly from Blue Moon Burgers to Cactus Restaurant. The first music stage will be on 57th Street, right out in front of Blue Moon Burgers.
You're talking about Alki.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Alki.
I'm sorry, I left that out. The second stage will be one of 2 main stages on either side of the bathhouse. We'll have the east-facing stage, and then we'll have a west-facing stage. And these stages will have musical performances at different times. They'll be staggered so that they're not competing for sound. And then the 4th musical stage will be on the Alki Elementary Playfield, and that's the kids stage in the family area. We will have kid-friendly music like the West Seattle School of Rock House Band and the Naughts. Those are the 2 bands that we've announced so far. In the kid-friendly area, we will have food trucks that will be along 59th Street. We'll have inflatable bounce houses, and we'll have a beer garden that's going to be hosted by the Southwest Seattle Historical Society back on the playfield. And we'll have a bike corral, and it's just going to be really kind of a peaceful area. That's what we're kind of designating it as. That area, the kids stage will close at 6, and that whole area will shut down shortly after that. And then the first stage on 57th Street will close down at 8 o'clock. And that will leave 2 more stages open, and they will close promptly at 10. And the last show will be the west-facing band that will project out over the water, just to mitigate any sound. We've been doing a lot of community outreach. We've been meeting the merchants, and we've been introducing ourselves to to community. We're really excited about this event, and we want to share this with you. We've been addressing any kind of concerns that we know that this is going to have an impact on the community, so we're working hard to address those.
Is this the first time we've done one?
No. So this is the 3rd event like this that we've done. The first one we did 10 years ago. We did that in Marymore Park, and although it was a wonderful space for a show, there were so many people coming in from Seattle to Redmond, and we're a Seattle company, and we wanted to celebrate in Seattle. So 5 years ago, we worked with the city very closely and had an event. It was free, and we had 3 stages in Georgetown. 5 years ago during that event, it was the first time the city had shut down Airport Way, And we had to work very closely with the city and all of the department heads to make sure that that event went well. It went very, very well. We had no problems, no issues. It was really crowded. There were 30,000 people who came throughout the day. So when we use that 30,000 number, that's what we're pulling from. We want to be prepared for that many, if not more. It would be irresponsible of us not to do that. Yes.
So what is the transportation?
So we're gonna get to that in 1 second, and I'm sorry to make you wait. But I promise we're gonna touch on that. The Georgetown event, I just wanna add one other thing, which is that we felt very proud that that event went as well as it did. The thing that made us maybe even more proud was that in preparation for this event, the feedback that we got from merchants and people in Georgetown was that it actually lifted the community. The merchants are still seeing the benefits from that show 5 years ago. They had people coming back, visiting those businesses, and discovering a part of Seattle that they didn't normally go to. We are so hoping and working towards having that same effect here in West Seattle. I also want to say that about a third of us at Sub Pop live in West Seattle. So not only is this really important for us, but we show our faces here. We're proud to live here, and we really, truly want this to be positive for everybody. Some things that we are doing in order to reduce any negative impact on people, I want to go over some of those items. One of those things Kara touched on, and that was that we're going to have 2 main stages on each side of the bathhouse. We'll have one on the east side and one on the west side. The last band that will perform will be facing out west. The noise will go down as the day goes on. So we're hoping that that reduces impact. And the final bit, we have to be done by 10 p.m. The final bit of noise, which is a wonderful band and not crazy, crazy loud, will go over the water and not directly hit residents. Let's see, there will be an emergency vehicle lane on the merchant side of Alki. We will make sure that there's at least 20 feet of secured space, unobstructed. There may be human bodies walking around, but there will be nothing in the way of emergency vehicles being able to go through there. We're also working really closely with the city to make sure that there are a series of soft and hard closures so that emergency vehicles can get anywhere that they need to get that day. I also want to add, and this might touch on some of the stuff that Gabe's going to go over, that in our subcommittee meeting with many of the city department heads yesterday, the city shared that this will be the largest footprint in West Seattle that the police have worked on. So we will have a huge presence. We're really, truly grateful for that. And we will have a series of closures so that local residents can get to where they need to go as easy as possible given this situation.
Yeah, one thing about
I know it's gonna be, I know. But, so, we can get more into that in 1 second. I wanna add just a couple of other things. And before I do, I wanna say, you guys are here because you care, and because you live here, and because everything that happens on Alki affects your day-to-day life. And we so truly respect that. We love this area too and use it. We know that also, this is in August, when people are worn down, tired of what summer can mean on Alki. We truly want this to be okay, and we want to acknowledge what you guys go through in a year. I know that that's not easy, and we're having conversations that are shaping this event so that it really can be as easy and tolerable and wonderful as it can be. I want to talk about pollution and people throwing stuff everywhere. We know that that happens, and even though we are going to message that we are in people's homes, we are guests. We want everybody to be respectful, to be responsible. We want people to throw their trash away and not throw stuff in someone's yard or go to the bathroom in someone's yard. We will have toilets everywhere. We will have trash containers everywhere. And we are going to have volunteers. Mason's daughter actually is one of them who is part of our roller derby group. We have young people who are going to focus on residential areas, picking up trash throughout the day, and we will be messaging people at the event and before the event to please be respectful of people's homes. On Monday, August 13th, and not on Sunday, because on Sunday we'll still be dismantling stages and cleaning up a bit, but we will have a volunteer cleanup. We're partnering with Puget Soundkeeper for this, so that we can again do another sweep of the area, make sure it's clean, make sure it's in good shape, work the shore, and our goal is to leave the space better than when we came in. So that's what we're focusing on. Gabe, I'm gonna hand it over to you to talk about transportation and parking and all of that stuff.
Okay, I'll try to preempt any questions, but obviously I hope we have some. The congestion in the traffic and the transportation and the parking is obviously like one of our major concerns for this area, and I'm sure that's probably one of the things that you most care about. One of the things we are securing a lot from the port, right there at the beginning of Harbor Avenue, right next to Terminal 5. It's about a 22-acre lot. Our plan is to have cars parked there, and then we're going to offer shuttles from that lot, as well as other of the major junctions, Morgan Junction, Admiral Junction, Alaska Junction, down to the festival. So these will be shuttles that run a loop. We're also talking about staging bike shares there, working with the marketing departments for each of the bike share companies to possibly get like incentives, discounts, coupons to use these different companies. The other part that we're working on is where part of our subcommittee, we're communicating with Metro about expanding bus service to West Seattle. That they said that they would expand the C line service, or the C line on that Saturday and the 21, so they could get people from other parts of the city to West Seattle. And we're also trying to work with the water taxi to see if they will do an extra pickup in Seattle instead of just coming to and from. So we're trying as many different ways that we can to push out, to have options, not just say like don't drive, but to actually come up with something constructive for them to do, and some suggestions for them and opportunities that we're creating for them. And there's other lots that we can secure, so we're also looking into that. And once we have a few different lots, that will make sure that these are part of our messaging on, we're going to have a dedicated, like a site, an event-specific site that'll try to have as much information and maps of where these lots are, and information and directions of how people can do this. And then the last part of that puzzle is, I think we're all kind of reluctant as we are to admit it, that a lot of people try to Uber or Lyft out of here, but to have to communicate with those companies, because they can block out certain areas, so that if somebody is here on Alki and they want to Uber home, which I completely sympathize, but they're going to have to still get in a shuttle and get up to the junction in order to catch that home. We're going to leave, our closure, you mentioned, was from 57th to 63rd, but we're gonna leave the bus loop open. It stops right at the Starbucks, so that so that will be like if any buses that are coming down here, I'm not sure which one runs that day, but that'll also be like a hub for the shuttles to take people back up.
And we're hoping to have a number of shuttles so that when this ends, we can just get people out very quickly and move them and just load a lot of buses up.
Well, one of the things is the water taxi shuttle that typically does go at least from here. How are you handling that going along Alki to Harbor?
There'll be a shuttle service that will bring people from, and rental bikes that can provide access from the water taxi into the event.
Well, I'm thinking more of getting them out of the event.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I think
Yes.
that's a legitimate
Fair enough.
concern, yeah, because the water taxi stops at 10, and that's when our event stops.
Well, my point is that right now, the way people go typically is to get the water taxi shuttle from Alki Beach, going along Alki to Harbor Avenue to connect.
Oh,
Well, it sounds like what you're doing is at least that there's a 6 or 8 block area that's gonna not have any kind of public transportation, which would include presumably the water taxi shuttle.
So there would be public transportation. So the hard closure is from 57th to 63rd. There'll be probably a soft closure from California Way to 57th that would allow access for residents, for public transportation, and for shuttles.
Are you talking about Admiral?
We're talking with the city about doing that with Admiral as well. So we are not the experts with which streets, but we know that there are specific streets, Admiral, Bon Air, many that will be problematic if there aren't soft closures or hard closures. And so we're working with SDOT and traffic control to determine those areas and map out a safe, effective plan.
You could probably put a lot of bike share bikes too up by the rapid ride on Yancey and Bradford, those 2 stops, because that's a real easy ride down here.
That is a great suggestion, and yes,
Bike share, line bike.
Yeah, no,
so
those
where-
are companies.
But
Yancey.
the bus stop
Bradford.
is up on Yancey and Bradford.
yes.
Bradford is westbound and Yancey's eastbound.
So, we're chatting with those companies right now, and we will be, encouraging people to use those bikes. And if you guys are open, we would love to continue coming back each month to these meetings, because it's feedback like that we can take and use. And you guys know this area so well. It also allows for us to take this information and bring it back into the subcommittee so that we can work through these concerns. But that's a great tip, and we can add that to our bike map.
So, I'm sorry. So when you say soft closure on Admiral, so are you gonna be are there going to be private cars going down Admiral and finding parking down on the flats? Because I call it the flats.
So, the city has not yet cemented the plan, but we're in the process of that right now, and we can have that information, I suspect, by the next meeting.
Okay, great.
But that was something that was identified in the subcommittee
Yeah,
yesterday.
'cause
Yeah, I would add that our shuttles will be useless if they're stuck in traffic.
Right.
So the only way that this really works is if those streets are cleared out. And so
Okay.
I can clear that a little bit. I know the traffic section is working on the plan. If it's a soft closure, I'm not sure about Admiral against the city will dictate to us. It's no different than the hydroplane races. We have different levels of perimeter. One is no vehicles allowed. Next, you have to show ID or an invitation from a house, so we can thin it out, and we can turn back the people that are gonna say, whoa, we have a reason to be over here, and not unless you have an invitation or an ID card current with that address, you're not allowed to enter. We'll make them park somewhere else and then take one of the shuttles or something like that.
Okay.
So it'll be, I know the traffic section's already blocked out every officer any day off.
Okay.
Also, like,
See you there.
I'll be retired.
Valet
by
bike
then.
park?
We will,
Yeah,
yes,
we
we'll
will.
have a bike corral for people. And I want to answer the other questions, but I want Jeff to come up here also, because I know he has information as well that we may be
Hey, Jeff.
How are you?
brain farting right now.
Well, actually, the reason that I was raising my hand is because I wanted to let you know why the Southwest Seattle Historical Society decided to kind of, find a connection and support of the event. But also because I'm being selfish, I would love to stay for all the questions, but I want to give my comments and then I have a place I have to go. So that's part of why. But Southwest Seattle Historical Society, I'm the executive director. I took over for Clay Eels, many of you who know. Yeah, Clay is amazing. And we also operate the Log House Museum. So situationally, we're kind of in the heart of all of that. And so we became aware, as soon as we were allowed to become aware of this event coming down the pike. And part of what really made us, kind of encouraged and kind of knew that it might be something that would be a good event compared to what could take place, and still fully acknowledging the impact that it's going to have to the community, especially the residents. But we feel that that there's something about the music connection to West Seattle that's very appealing to us, because there's actually quite a number of musicians and music connections in West Seattle's history. So as an historical society, we've been very tied in with that music industry in terms of capturing that history. So one of the things that's really exciting to us is that we're going to be having a coinciding music-related exhibit at the Log House Museum about the history of music in West Seattle. Many of you know there are famous musicians, the common one known as Eddie Vedder, and there are many others who actually make West Seattle their home. And we want to be able to help tell that story and also appeal to kind of a younger audience that is kind of new to a historical society. So that's one of the reasons that we're connected. We also are very connected to the business community on Alki, because even though we're a nonprofit, we're kind of central to the business district, and we know most of the businesses along the way. In fact, many of the businesses have been great supporters of the Southwest Seattle Historical Society, restaurants that have given to our gala and various things like that. So it made logical sense that when we learned about Sub Pop's plan, that we could be somewhat of a good liaison, also kind of a question gatherer, a person that could kind of represent both sides, the community side as well as the goal for a really amazing event at the same time. So that's why we got involved. We have been very, very impressed with the way Sub Pop has handled the event so far, and we know it's going to be, frankly, it is the biggest single-day event that has ever happened in West Seattle. And we know that what comes with that is both challenge, but also pretty remarkable things in terms of what it will be remembered for and what the event will be like. We do know quite a bit about the Georgetown event, because we have some very large supporters, including John Bennett, who owns Luna Park Cafe, who's also very associated with the Georgetown businesses. And so we know firsthand, or secondhand, I guess, if you consider, but really John is kind of central to our organization as well, that it was just a wonderful experience for the businesses of Georgetown. Now, we realize that that may not apply directly to the residents in the same way because of some of these inconveniences, but it was the biggest single business day in Georgetown's history. They sold out of food. It was a really big thing, and the businesses were also very, very impressed with how the event was handled. So I just wanted to leave you with some of the research that we did, some of the reason that we're excited about the event. We ourselves will be a beneficiary in the sense that, our organization's name will be out there, which is really nice. And also, we're going to work with the Senior Center to help run one of the venues, which is the beer garden in the family area. And we ourselves are going to take that very seriously. We're going to make sure that we run it very professionally. We'll probably involve some local beers in the process. And then that in turn will be, obviously some of the proceeds will go toward our organization as well. So that's my reason for being involved, and thank you for hearing my long speech. And I'll probably leave shortly thereafter. So,
Jim, thank you so much.
yes.
Appreciate it. Hi.
Yeah, I was thinking of your two stages, your east stage, your west stage. And one of the west stages, they're going to be on opposite sides of the bathhouse. correct?
Yes, yep.
The Parks Department, one thought that comes to mind is the Parks Department has put in quite a bit of effort and time in the last few years doing some great landscaping there. And just given the crowds you're anticipating, and I'm speaking as a person who's attended a number of musical concerts over the years. I got within 8 miles of Woodstock, but couldn't get any closer. I'm thinking that the Parks Department, I don't know if you've talked to them about protecting their landscaping, but I think there should be some sort of barrier put up. Because I could see a lot of those grasses and plants being trampled.
Yeah, the landscaping is beautiful there.
Yeah. Particularly since it's a slope and people tend to
Yes.
come off the sidewalk and down the slope making their own paths.
Yes. So we are working with the Parks Department, and we can bring this up, and I'm so glad you mentioned it.
You may want to budget some money, to help
Or rehab
replace
the
some of that.
plantings.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think it'll
because
be
there's
problem.
no barrier to,
Yeah.
they do have little concrete pathways, but there's no
Right.
barrier really. The slope's pretty
Right.
gentle. They've just got some
Yeah.
logs, grasses, and so on and so
Yeah,
forth. The other thing, I'm thinking west facing to me is facing down the promenade
So,
from the bathhouse. Because if you're projecting it out over the water, unless it's an extreme low tide, you're not going to have people in front of the stage facing out over the water.
so when we are talking about west facing, we're talking about if you're standing on the stage, you're looking at the mountains and the water. So if you were performing on that stage, that's what you'd be looking at.
But then you're not really addressing the audience.
There's that huge paved area, and you can view that stage from both the street as well as that little more park-like area and paved
So
area.
all the more reason to try and protect the landscaping, I think.
I think the landscaping is a great point, and I think we do need to chat with them about
Does
that.
anybody check the tides? Know what the tides are for that last band?
I feel like we may have, but I'm not remembering what they
I
are.
think the high tide is at like 5 or 6.
Yeah,
We
that's
did,
right.
we were thinking about that with beer gardens, like, how high up is it gonna be? I think it rises up to like 11 or 12 that day, and it's about,
That's a good-
no, it'll be up on the seawall for sure.
Yeah. Because I was just thinking that last band up to the west, if it was lower tide, people could be down on the beach and still partake, in the whole thing. But if it's high tides at 5 and you're going to 10, there'd be some space there on the beach.
Lee has a question.
So exactly how many shuttles are you guys projecting? Who's paying for them? He was 8 miles from Woodstock. You could have 50,000 people trying to come here. We could have people 2 miles out in gridlock trying to walk down here.
So we don't have a number of shuttles, a specific number yet. That's something that we are currently working on.
I mean,
But
10 is not gonna be enough,
no, 10 will not be enough.
right?
Right.
And the city provides those, you guys provide those? or
We are
private
providing
carriers?
those. We are working with a shuttle company and determining all of that right
And
now.
you said 30,000 or more, and I think you should tell the audience here that, this is a major rock concert. Basically, that's what's gonna be happening, right? Pearl Jam's in town the night before.
That's true.
You have
That's a very lot
thousands
of
of people
overflow.
flying into
A ton
town
of
to look
overflow.
at that. 80% of everybody who goes to that show is gonna try to come to your show, and you have all these.
So this is why we are preparing. We don't know how many people will come, but we are preparing for a lot.
You should close the streets off way back, what the officer was saying,
And that's
let
what-
the residents come in, because you will have everybody in their private car trying to come down Beach Drive,
Yes.
Genesee, and
So,
everyone trying to
this
get
is
there.
exactly-
Your shuttles will not work if you have that kind of congestion.
That's correct, and this is exactly what we're working on in our subcommittee right now. These are the exact conversations that we're having.
Go ahead.
You know, I've lived here my whole life. I just heard the guy say this is the biggest crowd. No way. No way. No, it won't be. We've had over 100,000 people on that beach.
Really?
Really?
A warm day in August, you could have 100,000 along the sand and the bulkhead.
So maybe this is the largest organized event.
But now when the pirates have landed, and you've had close to 30,000 on that beach for the pirates.
I heard that from
So
somebody.
if you have a hot day in August, who knows, you could have all kinds of people just wanting to get to the water, plus your 30,000 plus from the music.
I suspect that our event will actually deter a lot of people who would normally come in from coming in and using Alki for what they
So
typically do
you'll
on
advertise
Saturday.
that, and we put notices out, so all these residents won't wake up someday and go like, oh my God, what the hell is going on in my car? They're like, I want to be out of town when you're there. I mean, you could let all the community know ahead of time that this is gonna happen, so they can leave town.
I will say, sometimes I am shy to toot our own horn because we would never want to come across as arrogant in any way. But I will tell you, one of the things that we do really, really well is we get the word out. And we are great at promoting artists, and we are great at promoting events. And we got the word out far and wide for Georgetown, and it worked really well. And we know that on Alki, because it is more residential, we need to do an even better job than what we did in Georgetown.
The Alki Volleyball Association comes down here, everyone's seen that.
Yes.
None of their representatives are here tonight, but you guys need to get a hold of them, make sure they have no volleyball.
We know that, and we actually can't stop them from doing volleyball if they want to. So we will work with them, and we will make sure.
They'll be like, okay, fine, we'll give up.
Yeah.
Here, this,
Oh, hello.
Roberta. No, wait, just Roberta. Yeah, so let her go ahead.
You know, I truly wish you the best. I think it's gonna be great in one way, and in other ways don't. And I'm torn between calling every young person in the family and saying, come on down, and thinking, oh my God, Ron, we've gotta get out of town. But my question is, I'm on the Alki Parks Advisory Council.
Yes.
We had a meeting a week or 2 weeks ago. I heard nothing about this. Have you talked to them personally?
We have not yet, but
We'd like to invite you to a meeting.
we would love to attend. That would be wonderful.
I mean, the
And-
event's already permitted and gonna happen, right?
Yes.
And you were saying the beer garden is gonna be next to the playfield? Is that what you said?
There will be, the Southwest Seattle Historical Society Beer Garden will be in Whaletail Park. And
In
then
what park?
Whaletail Park.
Oh my
And-
God. Oh, I don't like that.
And,
With the kiddie swings.
And
and,
It'll be in the playfield, it won't be in the Whaletail Park, it'll be like near.
Yeah, but
Near.
even in the.
So the kids will still be able to play in that park?
Yes.
the kids will be able
So
to
you're
play.
saying you're gonna have the kiddie stage and the beer garden both in the playfield?
Yes.
Yes, and we will make sure that it is safe. We will make sure of that. There'll be 2 other beer gardens near Alki, near both of the main stages.
Please come and talk to us.
We would love to, and I'd love to get your information afterwards so that we can follow up.
Okay, Hudson, your turn.
I was listening to your talk, and you also mentioned that you wanted to keep us aware of your steps putting this together, and I think as a council, we should hear that, and I would promote you coming back as you meet your different milestones, keep us abreast of what's going on. But I do have some concerns. We had a fire next door during the summertime when the beach was busy. For the fire department to come off top of the hill is 18 and a quarter minutes. That is just line of sight because of congestion down here with the
police escort. So, when you lock this area up with a large group, there's only two main arteries in here. And even though the fire department just had to come down Admiral Way, and since that happened, the city has taken many thousands of linear feet of parking away. The fire boat got here before the fire engine off the top of the hill to put this fire out in a residential house. So gridlock is unbelievable down here. And if you have 30,000 people and you divide that into a Greyhound bus, that's like 750 bus rides. And you're talking about huge amount of transportation. If you're using the boat to go back to the city, that's 175 trips. Those are unbelievable numbers for this community to realize. Now, you're talking about using the playfield. It becomes boggy. Some kid took, took his car out there and did $5,600 worth of damage to the grass. If you people use that, are you replacing the sprinkler system, the grass, and whatever else gets damaged in that kind of situation? Or do the citizens have to flip for that cost?
Or the damages to private
Because
residences.
if you use it and knock out the sprinkler systems, you could have $15,000 to $20,000 worth of damage easily on a plea field that is geared for kids and dogs and balls.
We hope that that doesn't happen, and if it does, we will work with.
Are you gonna have a bond to cover any damage to our facilities down here?
We have very, very good insurance that will cover us.
So we will have that as a council, know who to contact if that happens.
Yes.
It's part of the special event permit.
Now, my last thing is, there was a tragedy in Las Vegas. When you have that kind of density in an area that is entrapped, because there's only two arteries in here and no way to move people, what's the safeguards that you're not gonna have another problem like Las Vegas?
I would say that, unfortunately, we can't control everything that everybody does, but what we can do is, and what we are doing, is we are working so closely with the police department. We will have separate security staffed throughout our event, and we will have police officers and we will have many, and it will be the most that has ever worked in West Seattle on a day.
So
Lieutenant
just
Smith.
because of the geographic layout of the Alki Beach, and I met you, how long, it's been in planning for how long?
It was
Since
many months ago.
The first meeting we had at
Yes.
downtown, but you still owe me a sub-off t-shirt, but I'm not.
You better get one.
You will get even a hoodie after.
Because of the geographic layout of Alki, it's gonna be a larger footprint of uniform presence than it was in Georgetown, significantly. Because if you look at the layout of Georgetown, it's Airport Way, Michigan Street, and then the town center was just opening up at that time. So the layout here is, I know the traffic section is in charge of the traffic plan, which they'll get additional officers. Even with all the motorcycles and cars we have in traffic, it's gonna be a little bit bigger than that. And my understanding is Southwest Precinct will have security on the beach. Now, the situation in Las Vegas, quite frankly, everybody had to change their opinion and attitude on that. So our response will also have, a different level of officers assigned specifically for potential, basically SWAT, right, out there. So that's the plan. Again, they've been planning it for.
Emergency egress?
Well, you got the emergency lane, which will be hardly, be enforced. I mean, it'll actually be faster for the fire department than a summer day on Alki, to be honest with you.
Good.
Because I hate coming down here, the long route, during the summertime, I go down, anybody knows, you go down Admiral, then you shoot down, right?
Lander.
So there'll be other areas, and I think if they're gonna take, the transportation note will have probably something to do with it, and I know Captain Sano was Sano at the meeting yesterday? He's a
No.
motorcycle, okay, I know Captain Davis was there at the
Yes.
meeting yesterday, so that'll be one of the issues I'll bring up with our assistant chief, and then Chief Wilsby used to be the captain here, and Chief Karen, who's in charge of the traffic section. But that emergency lane, it's no different than Torchlight Parade, which is a lot bigger than this, right? We have specific lanes that we keep open regardless. And if we have to move people by using force, we'll move people by using force. That's our job, and that's, life safety is number one on any of these events, so we'll address that emergency lane.
Great.
Okay, we just just.
Well, I do have one question though about the police presence in Alki, and I live right on 56th in Alki, and so on 4th of July, we always have the problem with, you guys are great down on the beach, but actually into the neighborhoods, the police presence isn't there, and that's where we're having the problems. Like I look out my window, some dude pissing by our cars, and
Right.
garbage in the
Yeah.
dumpster.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing is we hope that you guys will go out more into
Yes.
the
Well,
community.
and our plan
On
for
this
4th of July is expanding into the neighborhoods.
Thank you.
We hear you.
Yeah, that's
And
really, that's my only
We failed
stress.
in that aspect, we understand that. Now, keep in mind, 4th of July is not the biggest, here in Alki is not the biggest, it's further, like Gaswork Parks and all that.
No, but
In
I
the
mean, I
old days,
understand
when
if
we
you're
had the
watching.
fireworks on Elliott Bay, we could get more staffing. This has become a priority within the organization, so this will probably be the biggest event that day, I think, in the city of Seattle.
Yeah, because there's a lot of families on the beach, and people aren't
Right.
gonna do strange things on the beach around the families.
Right.
They're gonna creep right around and go behind our cars, behind our garage.
True.
No, I
That's
understand,
really
yeah.
Struggling now to have some cars,
Right,
at least I
right.
am.
Well, and I'll bring that up with the captain. I won't, 4th of July, I'm not gonna be in charge of that.
No, but it's just gonna be the same amount of people partying all day, people drinking all day.
Right. Yeah.
Eventually, it's gonna go out.
This is gonna be more controlled because this isn't gonna just be arbitrary people drinking. I mean, a beer garden, we know, is restricted in that area, right?
Yeah,
Well,
but I mean,
and they have their own security enforcing, but the liquor board will come down. If they're, quite frankly, they own that beach. If somebody's violating liquor law, including cannabis law in that park, they're the ones that are gonna receive tickets.
See, that's just the thing is that they leave the beach and they
They'll go to our
Yeah.
Neighborhoods. They go like this.
A big barn on a porch.
I'll bring
Like
that
he
up.
lived there, and I was like, what are you doing?
So, the residential streets off of Alki are something that we addressed yesterday and that we'll continue talking about.
And yeah, we didn't go to the one yesterday because we live here, so we wanted to
Oh,
make sure
and,
the Alki one.
oh, yeah, and when I say yesterday, I apologize, I mean the subcommittee with city department heads. The Admiral Community Council, we went to 2 nights ago, and we
It's a
wanna
stress.
continue going to all of these meetings. It is feedback from you guys that will make this a smarter event for us, and so we really do appreciate that.
Okay, just a sec. In the back, your hand's been up.
I think somebody brought this up, but in addition to the coming down Admiral, or as the lieutenant just said, people will just cut down Lander to get down to the flats, which is right where I live and is my exit route to do anything locally. So I think thinking about keeping that to local traffic, or how you're gonna block it off, because it just dives straight down into the flat area.
And Lander was also mentioned in
Okay.
yesterday's meeting also, but
Second.
none of this is cemented yet. So I see this as a continued conversation